Yeah.
There it is.
So much for a countdown, right?
I guess, yeah, well, I told you we need somebody new to do this.
Yeah, you need some professionals around
We're at
here.
that point in our lives,
Get rid of these amateurs and get some professionals in here to
Good
do this
God.
nonsense. And that's kind of part of the subject that we're talking about today, because I was thinking about side hustles and all, and so we're thinking, maybe we need somebody else to come and help us do what we're trying to do.
I know. Get our side hustle game up, man. Yeah, side hustles are important. I know we've talked about this before, but man, I just think they're so much more important nowadays than they were. Like, the cost of everything has gone up. Everything. Like we hear about it, but we see it. And I think when you look at it in that perspective of where your income is, or maybe where your income's just going to stay, and what your costs are, you're like, man, I just talked to somebody the other day who's got a very good job, and that it pays their bills and all this, but they've got things they want to do. So
Right.
like, yeah, I'm paying my bills, I'm living, but I'm getting ready to go on a trip, and I've got to pay this, and I want to get this. And they're like, I'm not gonna be able to have much wiggle room with my daily income, or my sole income. So I've got this thing going on, and I don't want to say what it is, because then get everybody out there. But and he's like, and it's give me a couple $100 extra a month, and I'm like, that's what it is. And they call it a side hustle because it is a hustle. Trust me on that. It's a hustle, it's a grind, and
Right.
it does not come easy.
Yeah, and let's face it, a lot of the side hustles that people are involved in, that is in addition to their full-time job. Uh,
Absolutely.
it could even be a housewife who is taking care of 2 or 3 kids as her full-time job, and it's not a paid job, but she, picks up and delivers stuff for people. She maybe goes online and does some work for a company that just needs some extra input to anything, in order, like you said, to create this second or even third source of income coming in.
Mhm.
Because going back years ago, you would sit down, you'd make a budget, and out of your salary, you would say, okay, how much is going to go into savings?
Sure.
Well, today it's like what do I have to cut out of my week in order to make my paycheck pay for the rest of it?
Well, that's just it. And I mean, and there's always stuff. Like, let's be real. Let's be transparent here. There's always stuff in our lives that we can cut out. There are stuff we definitely can cut out, that we
Right.
don't need. But it's also like there is a level to living that you don't want. I mean, sometimes you have to live, in this little tight little bubble because of your income for a while. But we work too hard, and there's too much other crap going on for us to not have some flexibility and fun. And
Right.
for everybody else, that fun might be a trip. That fun might be going to the mall. That fun might be an extra movie. For me, it's very simplistic. I mean, obviously, I give all my money to Luke first. That's number one. But to me, for my own entertainment, it's, what? I'm gonna go have a cup of coffee with a buddy, or go have a cup of coffee by myself. I'm gonna go to the movies by myself and see what I want to watch, and maybe I'll go pick up some dinner so I don't have to cook. That is a very basic, fun, and I mean expensive, but inexpensive treat. And I
Right.
feel like we shouldn't have to cut that out all the time. So the side hustle is the way to go, especially with the holidays.
Well, and if you have any kind of talent, maybe you're a writer, maybe
Well,
you're
wait a minute. Let's stop right there.
whoop.
Let's be real. Nowadays, you don't have to have a talent. You just have to have an audience. Let's be real. I'm on
Well,
social
that's true.
media too much. And I can tell you right now, there is a ton of talentless people that are making a ton of money that I'm like, hey, good for you. I don't get it, but good for you.
Yeah. Look, there's a lot of aspiring musicians that will go down to the corner on Main
Shoot.
Street, open up their guitar case, sit on a little stool, play a few tunes, and wait for people to just drop some change in
Yeah,
their guitar case. And hey, that is a side hustle. Uh,
absolutely.
other
And there's a lot of them out there in the bigger cities.
And I mentioned the housewife. Maybe that housewife back when she was younger dabbled in watercolor paints or oil paints or something and painted, and she put it on hold because she got married and started raising a family. Now she can take out that canvas, and while the kids are taking a nap, she starts to do a little bit of painting, and she finds a gallery that'll show her paintings, and she sells some paintings on the side.
Absolutely.
Another side hustle, people are opening up these consignment stores. You take your old furniture, your unwanted clothing and everything, you take it and you put it in a consignment store, and they sell it, and you make a few bucks on the side. There are more, and COVID probably launched a lot of these
I
because
think it did.
people were forced to work from home, take a salary cut or no salary at all, and had to come up with an idea in order to bring in a little extra money. Maybe they went and started cutting grass for the neighbors again, get into landscaping. There's no limit. Did you have any side hustles when you were a kid?
Yeah. None I'm really going to speak of, right?
I mean that you can talk about in public.
Yeah, obviously going around collecting, and I mean this like collecting not just from the streets, but going around and collecting pop bottles from people who didn't want to take them back. We had a significant amount of, and obviously in Texas it doesn't matter because you don't get paid for it, but in Michigan, right, you get your nickel, 10 cents, whatever. And there was a lot of people that I knew that would collect them and never, ever take them back. They didn't want to do it. So sometimes we would say, hey, I'll take them back and we'll give you a percentage of whatever it is. Or they just wanted somebody to do it. And it would be amazing how many trips we would take and spend time. We'd load them up in the back of my buddy's truck and big, giant bags, putting those in the machine, collecting that receipt, 20, 30, right, $40. That's our entertainment, we used to bet on high school sports too. I used to run a little betting thing on high school sports.
and that was pretty lucrative.
Yeah. For me, I can't say for most other people, but I did pretty well. Very few payouts, significant amounts. So.
Well, I used to get a small allowance from my folks when I was in high school, but a buddy of mine and I cut grass in the summer and shoveled snow in the winter to make a little bit of extra money. And I had, when I went to IU, I had a side hustle. I always was pretty good at sewing.
Interesting.
So, so when I was in college, in my fraternity house, invariably somebody on Saturday night was getting ready to go out and they busted a button off of their shirt, and they need a button sewed back on. Hey, I'll do that. Yeah. $10 here, $15 there. They split something in their pants and they need a seam resewn. I made good money, and by the time I got to be a senior, I was making gas money by doing little side sewing jobs.
And that's all it was, really. That's all you needed at that time. It's like, even now, like, I look at the things I do and all that, and it is a lot of work. And I mean, not just that I enjoy it, but it's a lot of work, from the podcasting and the movies and all that. Like, and when I get that deposit in my bank account, no, it doesn't blow the doors open. It did. I tell you what, it's gone down. It right. was larger. I mean, part of that is Zuckerberg's fault. And part of that's just the way of the world, but it's consistent now. And so I know that there's a consistent, whether that be $100 one month, $300 the next month, depending on, and I'm not talking like sponsorships. I'm just talking views, paid partnerships, random stuff, that has been really good. And social media will pay you for having so many. And I am on the totem pole of mass people out there that have millions of followers. I'm not that high. I'm not. I admit that. Number one, I didn't dive into it when I should have. I should have dived into it a lot sooner. Yeah. But I didn't feel like it. But for where I'm at, I'm like, okay, you're literally paying me to talk about things I like to talk about anyway.
That's right.
And I'm meeting people, and the connections of appearing on this show, appearing on this podcast, and then those people come over to listen to mine. So that increases 3, 4, 5 more dollars. Man, I can tell you right now, it helps. It just paid for Luke's birthday party. Last year, it paid for most of his Christmas stuff. And this year, that's what I'm saving on right now. It's paying for our Halloween extracurricular activities, and it's paying for Christmas. And I'm okay with that.
Yeah, and sometimes it's a payback because there's unexpected expenses that come up.
Absolutely.
The car breaks
Ugh.
down. You have to fix something. Well, you got to lay the money out now and then figure out how am I going to cover my other bills and put that money back into the bank. So that's where the side hustle comes in. And
Yep.
I think one of the things that we can let our viewers know is that if you don't know what you're good at,
Just try it.
find out what you are good at, and then you can make that into a side hustle. I've got a neighbor that is really pretty good at gardening and all. So he started. There's a lot of us that just don't want to take the time or don't have the talent or the physical ability to spread mulch around in the garden.
Absolutely.
So he's got a little side business where he will come by. He'll do landscaping. He'll put those bushes and trees into the ground. He'll spread mulch and all, and he does it. And he's like a jack of all trades or a handyman. And those are good people to get, because usually if you do it for somebody, then word of mouth, they share it with another neighbor when the other neighbor needs somebody to fix something. I mean,
Well, that's the biggest thing too. It is the network, and whatever you do, whether, we've got my good buddy Steve from the Notes My Goats podcast. They started this little cart, this little food cart, hot dogs, and it's not just hot dogs. He could get into it. It's this particular place that he buys the meat from. Like, it's legit, and they call it Slingin' Weenies. So that's a great name. But you got Slingin' Weenies started off as this little gig. Now it's like well, for him, probably a third full-time gig, but they are making serious. Like, when he came down here, he was talking to me about it. Serious money. They just got their t-shirts out. They're booking private events. They just did a wedding, like to bring, like late night, you're drunk and you want a hot dog. Like, it's perfect. So Nick Luck actually just, I believe he's got another show this coming weekend from the AOK podcast. And, he's been for the last 3 weeks now, an art show. And he's got his art out there. Matter of fact, he's got these really cool stickers. And you could scan the QR code. And these are all his drawings that he does. But he's at the art show now, not only selling his books, but his artwork. And it's like he said, he's getting people into the content too. So not only do people start following him on Instagram and TikTok, so now that money goes up. Now you're selling your pieces. I got to give a shout out to another guy, man. My good old buddy, Draco Mays Productions here. This guy, super cool kid, awesome kid. He's a movie connoisseur. He's a collector of physical media. He's like in his 20s, but he has started his own little production company where, yes, he talks about movies. But now he's helping edit filmmakers. And it's really cool because I just won something from him. I won a trilogy box set, but he is helping edit young filmmakers, with that. And I'm like, and he gets paid for it. And I'm like, dude, that's awesome. Good for you, man.
Yeah, and that's why I say it's just identifying something that you're good at, and then you don't have to go out and invest thousands of dollars and have business plans. You start small and you let it grow.
Small. Yes, absolutely.
How many women who were really good at baking started making cookies in their kitchen, and then all of a sudden somebody says we're having a bake sale, and lady, makes makes a few dozen cookies and goes and sells them and says, you know what? I can make cookies every day of the week and then find a farmer's market on the weekend to go and make some extra money. Speaking of farmers markets, that's a big side hustle.
Huge.
For and people love to get fresh fruit and vegetables that way too. So,
there's a girl I had, Ashley, on one of my show. She went skydiving with us, and she started her own company called All Nuts. And she does the roasted pecans And that has taken off. And by the way, I've tasted her bourbon barrel aged pecans and her pumpkin spice aged pecan. They're fire. Like
Wow.
they're good.
Yeah.
And she goes to all the farmer markets and she has her own website. And it has turned into like she's had to say, I can't do any more orders, guys. Like I'm out. Think about all the girls we knew in high school who like to take their clothes off. Now they're on OnlyFans. I mean, I'm not even mad at them. I'm just blown away that people are paying for it. It's crazy. But good for you. I always knew that Tiffany could find something good in her life. So
There you go. That name Tiffany would finally strike gold.
she amounted to something. Granted, it's a guy looking at her feet, but God bless her, man. Daddy's real proud of you.
I love it. Love it. Is amazing. Well, side hustles are here to stay because people will always find something, a means of trying to add a little to their income.
Because we can't make it on a real job.
yeah, while they're still trying to hang on to their real job.
Good
and
God.
it's also maybe a good idea to have a good side hustle too, because just in case the full-time job falls through, you got something to fall back on.
Absolutely.
Hey, so you become an Uber driver or a Lyft driver or something. You can make a few bucks that way too. There's
drug dealer.
Lots of things you can do. Yeah. I mean, we'll pay a couple of bucks for somebody to come on and share the screen with us.
No,
we got stickers. We got stickers too.
I have a few left, not many. I
We
redid them for our anniversary show, but I gave a lot away. We actually have several people.
Oh, swell. I never got one.
Sorry, man. I don't know what to tell you, but it's for our guests, our friends, our customers. I don't know what you call them, our audience.
Yeah,
but
we're still talking about getting together for a cup of coffee.
I know. I have a very, very busy schedule.
You keep sending me texts and say, "Hey, did you hear about that new coffee shop that opened?"
I know.
No, I didn't hear about it.
Hey, in all fairness, for once in my life, the last couple times you've been busy.
Well, that's
the true. Last I was like, "Hey, you available to do shows?" And you're like, "No." I'm like, "All right, you available for this?" No. So 2 out of the 500 times I get to be right, but there is a new coffee shop too, but and a new brewery. But anyway, yeah, we got people that are following us on TikTok that just found out about it accidentally from a massive Texas staple grocery store that's just down the street. I was confronted the other day by somebody who found us on TikTok, said, "Hey, I was scrolling TikTok and I heard your voice," and I had to go back and I was like, "Wait a minute."
Cool.
And now they follow the show. So a lot of the stickers ended up at that grocery store / amazing beer and wine department / amazing everything.
So if anybody goes to that grocery store and they open the door, they might see our sticker on the glass.
I'm just saying, people asked me for them. I did my part. I don't know what to tell you. A lot of great beer and wine there. That's all I'm saying. All right.
Well, whatever your side hustle is, let us know about it. Maybe we'd be interested, or we'll feature you on the show. I mean, craft beers is another thing that people have been doing on the side, making their own, beers and wines and spirits and stuff. Yeah. There's millions of them out there. So go out and find out what you're good at and make a side hustle into it. Hey, right? And then come back and catch us again next week. All right.
We'll be here.
Catch you then. Bye.